I see you working, I know you saving. I see you online, looking famous. So I won't question, like who you came with. Cause if you got a man, I know he can't tame it.
Welcome back to the Guru. Make sure you go ahead and subscribe here to my channel, and once you subscribe, make sure you click that bell notification so you are always notified every time I post another video. In this video, we are diving deep into the art of becoming. I normally do not include my private coaching calls because my clients do pay, but in this case, I really wanted to include some things. I got the okay from her. I'm definitely not including our entire 2-hour call, but let's get into it.
When I started talking to you guys about porosity and all that stuff, it's from learning from her. I said I have the opportunity of listening or getting on the line with her and picking her brain about some things. I said, but I don't have, she's like, well, what list of questions do you have? I was like, I don't have any. I'm just coming out here letting her know. I wanted to make sure that I was my authentic self. Yeah. And I wanted to let you know where I was at and where I was trying to go and see what advice I can get as far as getting there, getting to that place. Okay. So that's where I'm at. Yeah, so it seems like I'm all over the place.
No. You're let it out.
Yeah, so I'm trying to get into where I have, because normally the way that I work and how I'm successful at things is having steps.
Okay.
And if I don't have the steps, then it becomes broader and broader
and then broader. You can't see the forest for the trees because you need like more structured focus.
Yeah, exactly. And because I'm good at, and I'm not trying to toot my own horn, but I'm good at whatever. I'm good at whatever I put my hands to. Okay. So it's like, well, people go, you can do this, you can do that, you can do this. I'm like, well, I don't want to do everything. I just want to get good at something that's going to sustain me and my daughters long term, leaving a legacy for them. Period. That's all I want.
So for me, first of all, you being all over the place is not a bad thing. That's part of the reason why I stepped away from behind the chair, because in a certain sense, it puts you in the place where you feel like you have to choose a lane and stick to that lane and nothing else. So the fact that you didn't get into it then isn't a bad thing, and I'll explain why. We're going to be very transparent here. If you would have started when everybody else said that you should have, so right after high school, you would be one of those hairstylists stuck in a time warp right now. Because in the hair industry, initially when it first started out, think about it, like you could just call your hairstylist at any time and be like, hey girl, I want a ponytail. Whatever time, it could be 1 or 2 o'clock in the morning, she was either going to answer the phone. If she had an attitude, she was going to have an attitude, or she was going to book that appointment. If people were rude, disrespectful, hairstylists took it. It was different then. So as time progresses and you have social media, it's a guy, his name, what is that boy's name? He got his cosmetology license and graduated high school, same thing. He's 18, okay? Goes viral from one post, and surpasses over half of the industry. Women who've been doing hair for 20 years, because things are different now. So with you saying, oh, I started too late, all it takes is for you to do one person's head or for one thing that you create to go viral. For me, I think that your game plan, the way we should start this, and so start taking notes, you need to, all of the different things that you just named, that's excellent. But figure out how you can take all of those different things and combine them into one thing. For example, Apple. Apple has computers, cameras, phones, tablets, watches, you name it. They do everything. And the more I begin to research and the more I begin to dig into like the habits of rich people, millionaires and stuff, they would all have like a minimum of 10 different businesses running at the same time.
Okay.
And then 1 out of those 10 hit, and most of the time it was not that one that they were most passionate about. Like Mark Cuban, not Mark Cuban, the dude who started FUBU. The stuff that went crazy on his was his FUBU t-shirts. That wasn't his main thing. He didn't want clothing to take off. He wanted to be an investor, but because that took off first, he was like, okay, I'm gonna just run with this and use the money that I make off of this to invest in the other companies. Now he doesn't make clothing anymore. Now he invests his money in other people's company. So for you, and I experienced the same thing because I did go to cosmetology school, like basically fresh out of high school. Like I did a year of college and I was like, I don't like people telling me what to do. I don't think this is going to work. So then I decided to go ahead and go to cosmetology school. But then once I went to cosmetology school and I got out, you kind of get stuck in this mind frame. Like you can't do anything else. You either have to do hair or like makeup or whatever. Like, but you even at the time, doing everything in the cosmetology field was too much. So you couldn't do makeup and hair. You had to pick one. So first it went from everybody just having to pick one to everybody doing multiple things to now with the newer generation of hairstylists. And in my opinion, I'm not even included in that generation. I'm talking about the ones that like graduated from high school last year. They see how social media works. They see how fast one can go viral. And they now see that the customer isn't always right.
It's true.
So that's how they're acting. They're like, if you want your hair, if you want to weave, come with your hair already washed, blow dried, and braided. Now sew it in. And now, in hindsight, it's like, that is so ratchet. It's so dusty. But if you take it from a business perspective, what's really happening, especially from you being a mother of grown daughters, right? I'm sure you know that your daughters probably don't really like people telling them what to do if it's not you.
No.
And that's how the newer generation of hairstylists are. And the reason I'm bringing that up is because this is the perfect time for you to start. Because now there are no rules. Before there were rules. Like when I started doing silk presses without using a pressing comb and using a round brush, oh my God. I used to get so many hairstylists talking crap about me, especially the older ones. Like I would hear them and, oh, that little girl don't know what she doing. You know what I mean? Because that's how it was at the time. But like now, to me, this is perfect timing for you to bring all of those things together. So let me ask you, if right now you have somebody walk up to you and like, okay, here's $1 million. Start whatever business you want to start. What would you do? What would be the first business that you would invest in? Like, here's $1 million. You gotta invest. You have to. You gotta invest $100,000. Right. What would it be?
Am I investing in a business or
starting?
Am I creating?
Starting.
Okay. Then it would definitely be my full service salon and spa. Since I was 19, and literally, this is no joke, I'm about to give you stuff that I haven't even told anybody but my mom and my kids.
Okay.
So if I had $1 million, that's what I would do.
So once again, we're going to have a transparent moment. There was a reason I asked you that question. Excuse me. So even for me, I am included in this group that I'm about to talk about. When you first graduate cosmetology school, or even before you go to cosmetology school, when you have a passion for hair and you can see yourself in that, the first thing you think is like, I want to open a hair salon, right? Did the same thing. So before I say this, I want you to think about hair salons in the same way that Uber and Lyft are in comparison to taxis. Okay? Because at one point in time, Uber and Lyft, what if somebody needed to take something, a form of transportation other than the bus, they were taking taxis. Now, nobody takes taxis. Everybody does Uber and Lyft. The reason that I'm bringing that up is because The hair industry is completely shifting. Completely. There are a lot of hairstylists who will remain nameless that are clients of mine. And remember what we talked about earlier, how the new generation of hairstylists is like, I know how much money I can make. I know how fast I can make it. And I can do this myself. In 2014, Sola Salons came out. It was either they made their debut and started popping in 2014. So in 2014, as a hairstylist, when you start, most African-American stylists work on booth rate. And if they don't work on booth rate, if they're working commission, it's only at the very beginning until they build their clientele, then they go to booth rate. And that was the stopping rate. But then Sola Salons came along. Now, normal booth rate for a good shop, a good salon, is about like $250 a week, right? So for $250 a week, I can only work and make my schedule when you say the business hours are. I can own, like if you open a hair salon, the stylist or therapist or anything that work for you, they can only promote your brand. They can only promote your name. They can't have their brand and their logo outside of your shop. No, it's all you. Like they have to wear your logo on their shirts. Okay. So think about all of that. And then Sola Salons came up, and Sola Salons isn't just for hairstylists. It's makeup artists, nail techs, chiropractors, therapists, like you name it. They can all get their own private studio for $30 more than the top price for a booth rent of a hair salon. Each hairstylist or whatever that business is, they can have their own business license. They can promote their own brand, wear their own logos on their shirts. They can work 24 hours a day, have a key, alarm call. You understand what I'm saying? So for that reason, it's an app called Share. They opened this big, huge salon, and then Sola came out. So when Sola came out, everybody was like, this nice and stuff, but we can only work from 8 to 9. And I want to work on Sundays too. I don't want to be closed on Mondays and Sundays. So everybody started leaving. So now they got this big mortgage that they have to pay because there's nobody there renting the space. But BB, there's no more BB in Las Vegas, Nevada. They're only online. So, and it's the same thing with Uber. That's why I bought up Uber and Lyft and taxis. A hair salon and like a studio salon is taxis and Uber and Lyft. Like hairstylists aren't booked.
Because I have other ideas, like with this quarantine thing has me thinking completely out of. So I'm like, well, if we're about to be coming up on a new normal, I need to make sure that I have different revenue streams coming in. Like because I think they're going to open up and they're going to shut us back down again. That's inevitable. That's what I feel is going to happen. So I'm like, okay, make sure that you're taking this opportunity. Yeah, I believe it. I know it's going to happen. They're going to open up.
Not to be all super duper spiritual or nothing, but when we get off of here, go watch my video on Killing the Program a year ago when I was like, okay, I'm not going to do hair no more. Everybody talked. So I got so much. They were like, you're crazy. Like, you're going to be losing money. Like, oh, she must be broke or there must be something. And I just felt, God, like, no, like stuff is changing and you have to get a different form of income that does not depend on somebody showing up for an appointment. And
never apologize to me for going spiritual because that's where I go all the time. Okay, so
thank you. Because for me, I just
never apologize for that.
I don't want you to fall into a pattern, and by that I mean doing hair, being a hairstylist, standing behind a chair. That shit we used to do before is no. It's not happening anymore because think about it. Remember, there was a time where people you could book an appointment for yourself and bring your cousin, your baby cousin, sister, baby mama Tracy's, Brianna's cousin on your daddy's mama's side. And then be like, we all want our hair done. And the hairstylist just be like, oh my God, okay. And do hair till 1, 2 o'clock in the morning, or people will come and be an hour late for their appointment and they'll be like, oh, okay. But going all the way back, if we take it out of the hair industry before, and this is something that me and my husband were talking about, going spiritual, now that you don't mind going there, really, really think if you really, really think about it, my grandmothers, I'll use both of my grandmothers for an example. My mother's mother was from Cleveland, Ohio, and they moved to Detroit. And my father's people, they were from Memphis, Tennessee, and then they moved to Detroit. And then boom, here I come, years and years later. My daddy was 1 to 12. So from 19 to forever to like her late 30s, she was having children. My grandmother had my youngest uncle when her oldest daughter was pregnant. She was pregnant with her youngest daughter.
Yeah, I come from a family that's like that.
Same
yeah,
thing.
My grandma had 15 kids and he had 3 out of wedlock on top of that.
And they just took it. That's how stuff went. But then as you watch patterns, right? In females, since then, we getting stronger and stronger and stronger and stronger to the point where we're like, you know what? How about, and that's not my thing, we're like, how about, I just don't have a man at all. How about that? Stick that in your pocket. Okay. How about that?
Yeah.
And I feel like that also translates into us in the business world, because I know for myself, it makes you feel weird. Like, okay, I can't work and have this big, huge business and be a mom, regardless of how old your children are. Even because I know I'm grown enough to like my mother, So I just don't want you to feel like you have to follow a certain pattern. It's like, okay, you love hair, you love helping people. There is something that you can do digitally. Because remember, everybody's at home right now. And then on top of us being in quarantine, even once quarantine is over, the economy has to heal. People are still scared as hell to go places and do things. So everything that you're talking about, you can do online. But
right. The one thing that I'm glad that I have in my back, or as part of my personality, is I'm not afraid to try new things. And I'm open to listening to new ideas. Last night, it was talking about products. Okay. And that's one of the things I want to do. I want to have a product line.
Okay.
So let me listen to her. It was late at night. It didn't matter. Let me listen. They dropped so much knowledge, her and her husband, on that live, talking about what to do, how to get, they had 6 different steps of how to start. They brought people that took her class, and with Cyn, I'm gonna be talking, I'm listening to this stuff. So I say all that to say is that I'm not opposed to attacking it differently, or listening to another way of going about it, or scrapping the idea that I had in my head when I was 19 and making it a new age symbol of that.
Into something new.
Yeah.
So, and this isn't towards her, just in general. I feel that one of the main reasons most people can't get ahead, and this is something that everything that I say comes from my experience first. So I'm never speaking out of like, oh, I feel like this, or it's all coming from my experience. You hop into something and you're like, okay, this is all I have to do. Like, I'm just I'm going to use a wig company. It's like, okay, this person teaches me all of the steps. This is all I have to do. This is where I get the product from. This is where I get my packaging. This is where I get the labeling. This is where I get the cheapest hair. And you have everything. Now you have this perfectly packaged product and you ready to go. Who are you going to sell it to? Who's going to buy it? Like, what separates it? How do you separate it from your competition? How do you make it stand out from your competition? How do you focus on it? Who are your customers? That is the portion that everybody misses. Like,
that's what they talk about within that they said we can't say everything, but she said the last step was actually marketing. She said this is the hardest. She's like, everything else leading up to this point is like boom, 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 boom. But as soon as you get to the marketing aspect, because of the same reasons that you just said, that's when you're gonna see who's really in this to win.
And like I said, I don't have a problem with her content, but I just don't like it when people like, this is what you can have. Look, it's sparkly. Look, you can have this. It's so sparkly and pretty. Look, do you like it? And then that's it. But you got to do marketing. None of that conversation should be had until you teach me how to build a brand. And I'll give you an example. I'm using myself for an example. So when I first started doing hair, I started a product line twice. Okay. The first time I started, I didn't have, I want to say maybe I had like maybe 1,000 followers, maybe. I think I may have had like 500 subscribers on YouTube. If that, mind you, that's after having the page for like 3 years, 500 subscribers, okay? Was barely posting. Started doing different events. Nobody would come. Spent all of that time. Watch the same types of videos, okay? All you gotta do is this. I'm like, bet, and investing the money, doing this, buying the labels, packaging, doing everything. Did everything right. Got it. Nobody came. I wasted money. And then on top of me wasting money, it punched me in the stomach. It from my confidence, it made me question myself, like, am I supposed to be doing this? Because I put so much time into it. And if I really put this much time into it, if God wanted it to work, it would work because I spent so much time. God, what's wrong? And it just sends you down this spiral because you're like, I followed all the steps. Those are the final steps. We shouldn't talk about no product, no business, nothing until you start a brand. And I'll explain what I mean by starting a brand.
Okay. Well, that's why I'm talking to you.
I got you. Most people think that a brand means your logo, your colors, your name. It doesn't get any likes. Soon, you'll be able to just play around with things and see what hits and see what doesn't. But I honestly think you should just start doing that now. Like everything that you love. Like, what are some of your hobbies?
I love to write.
Okay.
I love encouraging motivational things. I don't know if you looked at my Instagram. My kids get mad at me because it's all over the place, and they tried to clean it up. They're like, "Just put your hair stuff on." I'm like, "No, but that's not all that I'm about." So I have inspirational quotes on there, and things that I like or funny videos that I like, whatever the case may be. So
I'm listening. I'm just about to show you something, but I'm listening. Keep talking. It began to slow down. So when you look at different businesses like that, those are websites that are formulated to fit through viral fads. WordPress and the other types of websites that she named they're not the type of websites that can grow with you. The website that I have right now, I've had for 13 years.
Okay. And that was formulated on the Wix?
Yep, it's from Wix. I've had that website for 13 years. And then whenever I want to rebrand myself, whenever I want to change something around, I'll just go back in, delete certain plugins, add other plugins back, because there's literally a different type of website for any type of genre you can think of. That goes into your own sovereignty down to like your job and what you do. That's why I said I don't want you to say like, oh, I want to do hair and open up a shop like this, because everything that you said, amazing idea. You can still do all of that, but it does not have to be within the four walls of a building that you stuck to paying a lease on every month. When people that have had businesses since we were little, me and you, have been going strictly online. Like JCPenney's, I think they're only keeping the home section of their store open. Everything else is online. Everybody's switching to passive income.
We have to go along, and I was telling my boyfriend this too. I was like, things are going to be totally different. And we to get in line with that. Like, we can't expect it to be what we grew up with. It's just not going to be like that no more. I'm sorry, but it's just not. So we have to get in line with that.
I'm like, what did we think was going to happen? We made Donald Trump president of the United States of America. What did we?
And he's going to do it again. He's going to do it again. He's going to be it another 4 years. I'm
so glad I'm talking to you, because when this happens, I'm calling you again. I'm going to just send you an email. We ain't going to talk. I'm going to just send you an email with the link. And when you come in, I'm going to just be like, watch. When he first got this is so not business. We'll get back in a minute. When he first got elected, he was like, cut off ties with China. Cut off ties with China. Let's stop marketing with China. Let's stop doing this. Let's stop doing that. And right before election time, China ruins everything for us. When he goes up there, all he has to say is what I would do if I was him.
Right.
I would be like, y'all need to reelect me again, because I told y'all niggas what was going to happen. Ain't nobody want to listen to me. So stick that in your pocket.
Hey,